Hi and hello, I'm Coral and welcome back to NewsNug. I posted 4 cannabis news stories on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.com/NewsNug. And the most popular story that all the World Reefers wanted to talk about was President Obama's interview with Rolling Stone magazine. Now it is a long interview, and I think it said it was his 10th interview with Rolling Stone, but this of course is President Obama's exit interview with the magazine, as he is serving out his last 2 months as president. One of the reasons this interview is making headlines is because of his seemingly more lenient stance on marijuana and the drug war as it is in the United States. It seemed to me like President Obama slipped marijuana legalization or decriminalization into the conversation first, but it wasn't really brought up in a question until a little bit later, about mid-interview. When speaking about cannabis and legalization, President Obama was quoted as saying that he does not think legalization is a panacea. He said typically changes to the Controlled Substances Act would come from legislative action or the DEA, but President Obama also pointed out that because it is the DEA's job to enforce the law, they're not on the cutting edge of changing the law or these issues in general. He says that he thinks cannabis should be treated like a public health issue and regulated in the ways that we've regulated tobacco and alcohol across the United States. He compared the state-by-state progress and sometimes setbacks to the battle for marriage equality in the United States, and that as we have this patchwork of legal and medical access in 50 states and changing in each one as we go, it's going to be untenable for the DEA to actually pursue justice according to the laws. In my opinion, this interview in regards to what it had with cannabis specifically was pretty lackluster. There wasn't anything new at all. He even mentions that he's said prohibition is untenable as we continue on in a different interview. I found it really disappointing that President Obama didn't take more of a stance against marijuana prohibition during his presidency. I found it really disappointing that he seemed to know the damage of prohibition and be very aware of the fact that if he had been busted, or if any of his peers had been busted for smoking pot, they wouldn't be in the positions they're in, and yet every day teenagers and adults are busted and opportunities are taken away from them. In my opinion, President Obama did not do enough to end marijuana prohibition. He did not do enough to seek justice. To hear him say that the states are making such a big impact that eventually it'll catch up and it'll just be unenforceable, it's like, you're welcome. We did that without him. His memos often went ignored. Even if he had said don't raid dispensaries, raids still happened during those times. And I do hope that he can become more vocal for cannabis and become more vocal for the medical use of it and stop calling it a public health issue. In my opinion, regulating it like alcohol and tobacco is so backwards because it does not have the same effects of alcohol and tobacco. Overall, the interview with Rolling Stone is considered a tradition. It was fairly expected, and I'm glad that he did bring up the points that he raised, but again, I just wish he had done so much more. Thank you guys for watching this video. I definitely don't like to talk politics and opinions on the presidency or which party and this and that. I don't really think helps the bigger picture. My focus is cannabis legalization. My goal is a better understanding of this plant in every house. So I'm always going to cover the issues that matter in that regard. And if you guys have a story that you want me to cover, make sure you submit it to NewsNug. Follow the account on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see you guys next time. Stay informed and stay high, you guys.